Yeah, so here's a fun little story for you guys. So I was finishing up a video last night that ended up going up on Rumble instead. It's about a woman of color and a drive-through. And the fact that every single one of you watching knows the content of that video without me even having to say anything should really tell you something about the culture, as well as other factors. And the fact that it's on Rumble when it wasn't intended to be should tell you the language isn't even that bad. Coming from me, the other thing, not so much. And you know it's bad when I'm the one telling someone to lay off the language and bleeping them. Actually, I think that might be why YouTube wouldn't monetize the video. The amount of bleeping is rather excessive. It probably just scanned the audio and went, nah, bollocks off. We're not touching any of that. But do watch the video, it's linked down below. Fair warning though, her voice is grating as all hell. But power through, because the ending is subtle but nice and spicy. But holy sweet mother of Moses, this clip just damn. Anyone who's watched me for a while knows I absolutely detest Bill Maher with the hatred of 1,000 suns. Now, believe it or not, I actually don't like insulting people. Not a fan of the constant negativity, gives you bad juju. But Bill Maher is a special case. Not only because of his shtick, that pathetic I'm on board everything liberal up until it blows up in my face, then I'll side with the conservatives, and for some reason get their applause as the sane liberal in the room, even though I've been on board with every bloody thing the Democrats have ever done ever shtick, which just depresses me. With that, it's not even so much that I dislike him, it's just the fact that that obvious gimmick has worked at all. That is what depresses me. He just happens to be the face of it. What I detest about him, though, is that unbelievably smug, condescending attitude of his, and he has absolutely no reason to be. The man's just a moron. So he was on with Patrick Bet-David from Valuetainment, and I absolutely love Patrick for many reasons, but primarily because he's got this excellent ability to be the voice of common sense and reason in a way that's very subtle, up until it's really not. He's like a stealthy boa constrictor, just slithering around the opponent, then with a simple question or two, bam, tenses and will KO. If you watch his podcast, you'll know what I'm talking about. So they were talking about the election, naturally, because Maher is obviously a simp for the Democratic Party. He's an Obama ball polisher. And I'm not talking about the golfing variety either. And Patrick brings up Gavin Newsom. It's even worse than you think.
Look, I wish it was a different...
Do you like Newsom? How do you feel about Newsom?
Had him on my show Friday.
I saw that.
And I first of all, I love him.
That single statement right there should forever disqualify you from ever talking about politics as long as you draw breath. Anyone who likes Newsom is either paid to say so or so far removed from objective reality you can qualify them as lobotomized.
You just like a guy or you don't. I've known him for a long time. He's done my show for a long time. Do I love everything he does as the governor of California? No, I don't. I wouldn't say I'm undertaxed. Yeah, I have issues with this state. He's a guy. One reason I want him to run for president, well, is because he's obviously a winner. This guy could fucking do it. It's insane that we have the guy, but we can't run him because we have to tiptoe around Biden and
define a winner.
There, that moment right there, define a winner. That was the headshot. Watch Maher now completely melt down into an incoherent mess.
Well, he would win the election.
Oh, so
he would win the election.
And that means what for the country? Winning doesn't mean jack shit. You still have to run the country, you doofus. And if California is the blueprint, dear God, no, that is just suicidal.
Talented debater, speaker, communicator, deflector.
And politician, and he's a smart guy.
Bear in mind, this man thinks Trump is an idiot, whilst also admitting that he ran a good economy, which he wanted to fail just to get him out of office. He is an asshole.
He's a smart, real guy with a pair of balls.
A pair of balls to do what? Standing up to who? The most pernicious force in America is the far left, whose HQ is California, where he is the governor, you daft git. Where is this example of Newsom having any cojones whatsoever?
Do I love everything? No, you never do with a politician. But first of all, I think if he ran for president, it'd be great because it would force him to move to the center.
Okay, I want to examine the statement in a bit more fastidious detail, shall we say, and to show that I am undoubtedly significantly more politically astute than Bill Maher could ever be. Though from the looks of things, that's not exactly a high bar to clear. All my observations can be taken at face value as true. Gavin Newsom is objectively a terrible governor. He faced a recall, which he survived admittedly, but that's not really saying much. Basically, a handful of sane people barked loud enough to be heard, only to be overwhelmed by a bunch of thickos who heard white supremacy in the form of a black gentleman by the name of Larry Elder. Really, that says more about the residents of California than it does Newsom, all of whom should be in a mental asylum, but anyway. But to say he can win because he has to run to the center, what does that even mean? If he has to run to the center, we can infer a bunch of things from this. Namely, that the vast majority of the country is not far left. It also means his policies are objectively shit, because if he has to run further to the right, then he can't just pivot to his policies and say, no, here is why I will run an X, because those policies have destroyed the state of California. Gavin Newsom being president would be a classic case of Democrat politics failing upwards, which means he is just going to say whatever he has to get elected. So you know he's not going to mean any of that shit. No, that's just something he has to say. Rhetorical bollocks to win a general. He is going to preside in the exact same way he has his governorship. People said, oh, Joe Biden is a moderate, not a far leftist. Look how that turned out. You mean to tell me a guy who's governed further left than Biden is going to get into the White House and be further right than him? Based on what? I can't imagine anyone who whines about the left being too far to the left and then bitches about Biden and then wants to run a guy further left than him purely because he can win, yet also concede he has to run to the center to win a general election. Maher, would you care to qualify where and how the left have gone insane, and how would you propose getting them back to reality, and by what means would you keep them there? Oh yeah, that's right, you have no answer to any of this. You were all on board with all of this shit, up until you saw it was costing them elections, because that is all you really care about. It is when it's bad for campaigning Democrats. He has no principles whatsoever, and never ever gets suckered into the idea that he does. He does not.
Now you're running not just in California. I mean, this is California. It's weirdo, Will.
Are you a results-driven guy?
He's a Democrat, so no. Clearly, he is not a results-driven guy. You see what I mean with the bow moves? It's very subtle.
No, I like to think... watch things fall apart.
I mean,
of course you do, Ma. You defend Biden, and you just said you like Newsom.
You wouldn't build a show that you build and win at the levels you won, for decades if you weren't results driven, right? I mean, you're Bill Maher. What
do you mean? Well, what's the point about results?
That's exactly where I'm going with you.
Newsom is one of the worst governors in the United States, arguably the worst governor in California's history. If you see the state of the place, the house prices, the homeless problem, the crime, the drugs, the fecal matter, the self-inflicted energy crisis, hasn't he governed over a net loss of citizens leaving the state, which has never happened in all of California's history? And that's the guy you want as the chief executive of the United States. Again, the man's a moron.
So results-driven guy.
Right.
What areas has Newsom won in? You said he's a winner.
Oh man, I am giddy with anticipation here.
Winner of the election. He could win the election.
But
he's so stupid, I almost feel bad for him. Nah, I don't, Patrick, full speed ahead.
Based on what, though? Do you want results? Like, what has he done to California to say he's a winner?
Oh, God. I don't know. It's too...
Exactly, you don't know. You have no idea. You know nothing about politics. You're nothing more than a Muppet with a DNC forearm up your ass, right up to the elbow. If you ask a Trump supporter why they support Trump, they will raffle off a list of things. You ask a Democrat why they like anything about Biden without mentioning Trump, they will either sweat buckets or start yelling with angry gestures. You all know this.
Bill, you're a smart guy.
You know what? He made it rain, okay, dude?
He made it rain. Oh, dear God. I swear Patrick calling Bill smart is just him fucking with the guy.
It wasn't raining.
Someone you said that. He said, great job.
It wasn't raining, and now it's raining. So he's got my vote.
Okay,
you know what?
Respect. I mean,
I don't know.
Look at Patrick's face in this frame. You just know he's thinking I'm dealing with a fucking moron. I can't believe anyone listens to this man as if he has two functioning brain cells to rub together.
I don't follow the news. That's a character
Bill,
I play on television.
Don't deflect. You're a very smart guy. You're a very smart guy.
It's a character.
I know he's trying to joke it off, but how many of you think that's legitimately the first true thing he's said in years?
I actually live with my delicate wife, Sue, and our 8 homeschooled children. We just had twins, Sean and Hannity. Don't believe everything you see on TV.
So then what this does to me, this actually makes it easier for me to not even have to have this discussion and just move on to other things we can talk about, is you base your character on your candidate. You base your candidate based on being a good debater, deflecting, not necessarily results. Because
No, I don't.
if that's how you do it, then
Shut up.
Newsom is fantastic,
This is
Bill.
stupid. You're better than this.
Really?
I hope so. I don't know. I'm just getting
but
to
I
know you,
asked you
but
a question.
I
I said-
told you are.
I
mean,
said-
it's a silly argument, a debater. You know, like I can't tell.
No, very evidently can't. You're a hack with a camera.
I've been doing political commentary on television for 30 years. I think I can tell when a guy is just debating or whether make a calculated guess on how he's going to be actually as president.
No, you can't, and you're full of shit. You couldn't even answer what about Newsom you like as a governor. By what fucking metric do you think he'd be a competent president?
There's two different things, running and being the guy. Do I like it that Newsom is good at the running part? I do, because that means he can get elected. Do I also think that if he got elected, he would be a good president? I do.
Based on what?
Generally moving the country in the right direction. I would like to take him back a little toward the middle, but, you know.
Based on what, though? Based on what?
Thank you, Patrick.
Well, you know, California is just a kind of a crazy, you know, can't do the taxes, the graft really is what is the. I was asking him about that.
What the hell is this idiot dribbling on about? Why does anyone listen to this fool?
He says they're attacking it. The red tape, the graft, the fact that they can't build a fucking homeless home for less than $900,000. They couldn't complete a fucking high-speed rail.
So this just shows you how badly run California is, and pet projects, which have nothing to do with the current problems of California. The homeless issue is a business model. Politicians never solve jack shit. They just manage them as issues to get elected on.
I'm going to say on my show Friday, this is going to be controversial, but Hamas, let them come over here and build our fucking tunnels because we cannot get it done. No, I'm serious. It's a win-win. If they would like renounce and say, we will not attack Israel, we will hire you to build infrastructure. These people know how to build a tunnel.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, shut up. I can't take much more of this bullshit. The Newsom bit ends there anyway. Dear God, how does anyone think this gimp is to be taken seriously with regards to anything political is astounding to me. I can't believe this is the intellectual depth of our discourse in our society. It is no wonder I stick my nose in all books. I have to, because dear God help me, I hate modernity. Don't forget to check out the Rumble video as well, link down below. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.